April 6th, 2021. Please silence all electronic devices as a courtesy of those in attendance. Thank you. And at 5:30, we're going to have our study session, SS-1 2020, Lemoore Police Department Annual Report. Chief Kendall.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. As stated, it's my pleasure to present to you the 2020 annual report. I'm not going to read it line by line. It's 34 pages long. And I'm just going to hit some of the highlights and the statistics from last year. So starting out with the operations division, our traffic enforcement saw a decrease from the 1,996 citations we issued in 2019. In 2020, officers issued 1,442 traffic citations. In 2019, we implemented a warning citation program allowing officers discretion as to whether or not to issue formal traffic citations or just write them a written warning. So in 2020, we issued 579 warnings. With that being said, our overall traffic collisions continued to decrease over the last 5 years. In 2019, we had 167 collisions. In 2020, we had 99. We also had 92 DUI arrests in 2020, which was 18 less than last year. Calls for service were also down last year. We had a total of 46,395 calls for service the year prior, which was a 3,944 calls for service decrease in 2020. Our felony arrests were down from 2019 with a total of 569 as compared to the 611 in 19. However, our misdemeanor arrests were up with a total of 1,658. They weren't up that significant, about 50 or so. Reported assaults, rapes, larcenies, burglaries, and robberies were all down from the previous year. However, we did have 10 more vehicle thefts than we did last year, 253 versus 263. Moving on to the support division, the detective division was assigned 230 cases. They had 134 arrests with a clearance rate of 92%. We did have the one homicide in September. Detectives were able to identify and arrest the 2 suspects in that case, extraditing them from Texas and Mexico. And that case is currently awaiting to go to trial. Our training staff continues to be a high priority. Personnel received approximately 3,800 hours of training, not including the 6 reserve officers we brought on and put through the extensive 4-month field training program. Our K9 unit continues to be a successful program. Both K9 teams completed their yearly recertification and patrol and narcotics functions. Officer Jakes in Trevino logged a total of 320 hours of training and had 128 utilizations in the field. Utilization is essentially any time the dog gets out of the car. As I presented to you a couple meetings ago during a study session in regards to our community service officers, they were again very busy. They handled 364 code enforcement calls for service. 126 of these calls were for vehicle abatement and 238 were for property maintenance. Animal control fielded 1,216 calls for service. That was a 24% increase from the year prior, which was 938. In 2020, the volunteers in policing donated 3,084 hours of service to our department and community. Since its inception in 1997, They have logged over 106,000 hours of service. And I do have to say that during the pandemic and our response to the pandemic, that it was really noticeable. That number, just to put it into kind of some type of justification, was essentially cut in half from what they were able to provide the year prior. Our stats are good. It's a little difficult to say just how good, because I don't want to go out on a limb and say that COVID did not have any type of effect on the way that that we enforce the laws. Our traffic citations were down, and I think that was a direct reflection of COVID. There's less people on the street, less people to pull over. So with that, I'd like to thank Valerie Caceres, our executive assistant, who really put the entire thing together. She put in countless hours doing this, and it shows because it's beautiful. I will entertain any questions. Again, it's a 34-page report. If you had a chance to read it, Mr. Gordon.
No, I understand your concern about COVID, but the trend lines are going in the right direction.
I do believe so. If you look over the
That's
course of the
good.
last 5 years, I
Yeah.
think it's trending that way.
That's good. Well, congratulations, good report.
I have a question, and I mean, this is nothing to do with your report. It's just with the police department in general. And what reminded me was the cover page of this thing. It was that end of watch motorcycle that was donated.
Yes.
Are you guys using that, or is it on display somewhere, or?
So on tonight's agenda during regular session, there's a staff report for just that, to finish it off, make it really California compliant, and hopefully it goes through. We'll get on the road.
Okay.
Just one more item. I sent Nathan, I had a concern from a citizen who interacted with you guys. And anyway, he filed for some kind of a hearing and hasn't heard anything about it or something like that. We're supposed to look into it.
We'll take that one offline.
Is that a state process where you have a service that provides?
Well, the hearing is pretty broad because we do like vehicle inbound
he-
hearings.
I think he parked on a lawn or something.
I'm sorry.
I think he parked on a lawn or something like that. It was nothing big, but,
Yeah, so that does go through a
like
hearing
a service
process.
that you guys have that. Okay.
All right.
just-
Oh, sorry.
I just have to say that I did read through the whole presentation a couple of times just because there was so much information in it, which I definitely appreciate. And it was very well done. It made it easy to read through it twice. So thank you guys for preparing that, and the information in it, like Mr. Gornick said, seems like it's trending well. So pretty proud of our police department. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would agree. I read it too, and it's great. Looks really good. Everything looks good and going the right direction. Very professional.
Thank you.
Like it a lot.
We'll get it put up on our website so that it's available for the public.
I have a question. It's just more for general information, so I know. You mentioned, I don't remember how many hours of training canine, the canine program has had. Where's our canine program? Where do they train now?
So
Or what agencies do they-
a few years ago, we made the decision to go with Visalia Police Department. So they do their training completely in-house. We had been previously with Von Lick Kennels. We had always partnered with some of their surrounding agencies like Kings County, Avenal Police Department. They decided to move away from Von Lick Kennels and go to another facility down south. But they were not going to come up here to provide that type of training. our canine program with our canine handlers are far enough along where we're not sending them through a basic school. I know their head trainer personally in Visalia, we were canine handlers together. And I know the level of service we're going to get, the level of training that we're going to get from Visalia. And so far, they're making leaps and bounds.
I assume we're getting the bang for our buck,
Oh, yeah.
good training program.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Okay, no more questions. Well, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so that's going to take us to our closed session. This item has been set aside for the city council to meet in a closed session to discuss matters pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 subsection D4. The city attorney will provide an oral report regarding the closed session at the beginning of the next regular city council meeting. 1, conference with labor negotiator, Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency designated representatives Mary Lerner, city attorney, and Michelle Spear, assistant city manager. Employee organizations, General Association of Service Employees, Lemoore Police Officers Association, Lemoore Police Sergeants Unit, Police Professional Services Bargaining Unit, unrepresented. 2, Government Code Section 54956.9 D1. Conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, name of case, Austin versus the City of Lemoore, Kings County Superior Court, case number 20C-0365. Number 3, Government Code Section 54956.9. Conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D of section 54956.9. 3 cases. And with that, we are in closed session. Our 7:30 regular business meeting. We're at Lemoore City Council Chambers, 429 C Street. Today is April 6th, 2021. And we're going to go ahead and stand for invocation. And after we're done with invocation, please stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come before you this evening. Thank you for a brand new day, just to be able to be together. And thank you for each person here and the council members, Lord. Pray for wisdom and for discernment in the decisions that have to be made, Lord, and just pray for your guiding hand. And as the words in this building say, "In God we trust," we give it to you tonight and just ask for your leadership and your guidance and pray that your Holy Spirit would dwell among us as we meet tonight. In your name we pray these things. Amen.
Amen. Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you there, Mr. Ecker. Pastor John, is that what you go by? Pastor John? Mr. Ecker? Okay. Pastor John. All right, roll call.
Councilmember Orth,
Here.
Councilmember Gornick,
Here.
Councilmember Cheney,
Here,
Mayor Pro Tem Matthews,
Here.
Mayor Lyons.
Here. How about that? Oh, we got it right. We're doing good. 2 for 2. So we have a quorum. We can conduct city business. So we're going to start off with a closed session report.
Nothing to report, Mayor and Council.
Okay. Agenda approvals, additions and or deletions? None? Okay. Public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. This time is reserved for members of the audience to address city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes each, and it is requested that no comments be made during this period of time on the agenda. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the city council and appropriate staff. So do I have any public comments? None? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move on to ceremonial presentations. Seeing none. Department and city manager reports.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. First up is Ms. Spear.
Oh, geez.
So sorry, I forgot I was doing this tonight. So I just wanted to give council and members of the public an update and let everyone know that we are currently working on the budget process for fiscal year 22. I should be before you the first meeting in June to give a comprehensive overview of the budget and allow members of the public and council to provide feedback. And we are also currently in negotiations with all bargaining groups with the city. Thank you.
Next up, Chief Kendall.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I have a couple of things. As you know, obviously I presented the 2020 annual report during study session earlier. I was happy to report that just about in every category, not all, but most, we saw a decrease in criminal activity. For those in the public who missed it or want to view it in its entirety, we will have it up on our website shortly. I'd also like to invite council and the public to attend a tree dedication. Assemblymember Rudy Salas will be dedicating a tree for fallen LPD officer Jonathan Diaz at the Centennial Park in Hanford. The ceremony will be held on the 23rd of April at 11 a.m. And then finally, we have been working on the downtown parking signage along D Street, Highland, that is complete as of today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And again, good evening, Mayor and council members. I have a couple reports. So one, we had an Easter event downtown in conjunction with 30 plus of our local businesses. A huge success. Sheila's reporting that we saw probably 500 families coming through our downtown Lemoore, and I've heard nothing but good things about the event. Also, I traveled up to Washington State and I met with a potential lemonade bottler that wants to come to Lemoore. Since the visit, they have entered escrow into 3 acres out in the South Industrial Park, and they're starting to hire civil engineers and putting their applications together. So we will, looks like we're getting an expansion business out of Washington State to come down to Lemoore. And being I was in Spokane, Lone Wolf Harley Davidson was the dealership that dedicated the bike to Lemoore PD for the end of watch giveaway they had. So I was blessed to be able to go over there, and I took a shadow box that was presented from the Lemoore Police Department as a token of gratitude and gave it to the owners when I was up there. So good visit all in all. We got another business coming to Lemoore. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, we got the consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will be considered and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or a member of the public requests individual consideration. 3-1 approval of minutes, regular meeting, March 16th, 2021. 3-2 approval of minutes, special meeting, March 30th, 2021. 3-3 approval of the budget adjustment 2020, the police motorcycle upfit. 3-4 approval notice of completion CIP 5308 Champion Sewer Extension. 3-5 approval award contract for landscaping maintenance for the lighting and landscaping maintenance district of number 1. 3-6 approval award contractor for landscaping maintenance for public facilities maintenance district 1. 3-7 approval award contract for landscape maintenance for city parks. 3-8 approval for the renewal contract with Wildan Financial Services for LLMD and PFMD engineering services. 3-9 approval option to purchase real estate agreement between the city of Lemoore and People's Properties LLC. So would anybody on council like to pull any of the 9 items? None. I'll open it to the public. Does anyone on the public want to pull any of the items on our consent calendar? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent calendar.
Motion to accept consent calendar.
Mr. Orth
Second.
and Mr. Gornick. So, Mr. Orth,
Aye.
Mr. Gornick,
Aye.
Mr. Cheney,
Aye.
Mrs. Matthews.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Consent calendar pass. On to 4-1. Public hearing, first reading. Resolution 2021-06 and ordinance 2021-02 approving planned unit development number 2020-03 Fairway Courtyards tentative subdivision map number 2020-02 and major site plan review number 2020-05. Mr. Brandt.
And just as a reminder, Mayor and Council, this is a continued public hearing from your prior regular meeting of, I believe it was March 16th. And so the public hearing is still open.
Okay.
So the city attorney stole my intro.
Sorry.
No, that's right. Yeah, we're here again with this project before you. Staff had previously presented its report and given you the planning commission's recommendation. You are welcome to take more testimony, or if you want to close the public hearing, and then we can discuss options for you on conditions or we can answer any questions that you might have still.
So my recommendation is that you take more testimony if people are here to actually testify in the hearing.
Okay. So we are open for public hearing. Would anyone in the public like to stand up and be heard?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I did receive a public comment for this item, and it reads from Matthew Holmes, 450 Camden Court. We are very interested in purchasing a GJ Gardner home and wanted to know what the problem was with why it is taking so long for the city to approve the GJ Gardner homes. This is so perfect for a small family starting out, for a couple looking to downsize. We hope that GJ Gardner will be allowed to get this subdivision going. It shouldn't matter what size homes they should be, because you can't speak for someone on their house preference. It would be nice to see a dirt area be developed instead of weeds. We also have been approved for financing, and the more time goes by, the prices of homes will go up, and then we will not have the opportunity to purchase our first home. Thank you for listening to our concerns. Thank you.
Any more public comment? Okay, so seeing none, so we'll go ahead and close public comment,
You can close the public hearing.
public hearing. No, I think you go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, the
So-
mayor closed the public hearing.
Yeah, so
you're
the
good
public
to go,
hearing is
Steve.
closed, so
I know.
so you're welcome to ask.
Is that what you're looking for? Or I'm
What's
sorry.
that? No, you're welcome to ask me any questions you've got, or we can talk about any of the conditions, if you want to make any modifications to the planning commission's recommendation.
So one of the questions that we were talking about was the width of the road.
Yes.
How tight of the turn is it going to be in there? Because I know it comes to a kind of a funny
Comes to
angle.
a funny top. We did look at that again, just to double check, and it does meet the fire truck turning radius,
Mhm.
which is I think it's 20 foot inside, 35 outside, and it does meet that standard, as well as the cul-de-sac. So there would be two ways to turn around.
So is that with parking on one side of the street or both sides?
We'd probably red curb the inside of the turn,
Okay.
but there's no houses right there anyways. If you remember, that's like a little parking area. So,
So yeah, so that was one of the safety concerns that we had.
okay.
And the other one being that, making it a one-way street, which would allow for more parking.
And one way is a possibility. It would allow you to do parking on both sides of the street instead of just one side of the street like the condition states now. We looked at that possibility on what is there a preference on which one would be one way, and which one would be one way the other way. There really isn't. What will happen is the cars will need to park in the direction of the one-way street all the time on the street. but they can park on both sides of the street. And half of the homes will have to put their trash can out for pickup on the opposite side of the street from their house, because the trash truck will only be able to go
Go
down
one way, yeah.
one way. And we looked to see, well, which way would be better. It's 50-50. There's gonna be 13 homes doing it one way and the other 13 homes doing it if you chose to do it the other way.
Well, it's just a thought, and I hate to say that people are lazy. I'm a bit lazy sometimes. And if you were to come to the first intersection or the first inlet, you'd be more likely to turn into that one than to go to the next one and to turn in that one. I don't know. I think the first one should be the entrance,
Okay.
but there's something to be said. If the second one is entrance, that way when you're making that.
The northerly one, you're
Yeah.
assuming most people are coming from Iona.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
Sure.
But then it's also said that if you go in on the second one, when you make that sharp left-hand turn, at least you're gonna be on the driver's side of the turn, so you'll have a better vision of it versus turning to your blind side. I don't know. It's just a
True.
thought.
No, that's true. No, we looked at it a bunch of different ways, and I think police doesn't have a preference. Fire can get in either way. And then the trash pickup wouldn't be, it's gonna be one or the other, depending on which way you do it. So
And another thing that was brought up as a concern is a painted wall versus a block wall or a stucco wall.
yeah, so the staff had recommended a stucco wall because that was consistent with the other homes on the golf course. Our city standard is actually a colored block wall. So the planning commission changed it to a painted wall because that is what the applicant asked for at the hearing.
And what's the difference in price on that?
We came up with some numbers.
And this is something that the contractor would have to pay, or would he just pass on this payment to the homeowners?
Well, that's up to the.
That's up to him,
That's
huh?
up to the seller. Can you pass that on, or is it just part of the expense of building, of construction? So that's a per house difference. So going, a colored block would add about $100 to $170 per house to the overall cost over a regular
Okay.
block.
Just on Vine Street.
That would be just if it was on Vine Street.
Oh, I see. So you're saying just the colored block only on Vine?
Do it
And
only on
not
Vine,
on-
and you could still do
What's the cross street going to be named?
oh,
Or the first
the
cross
new
street?
street?
Sand, okay.
Yeah, Sandtrap and Green.
So then there would be a block wall, a painted block wall on Sandtrap. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
On that north.
On the north side of the road?
Going east and west.
Yep.
Yes.
How about a stucco wall? Do you have the prices on that
Stucco
too?
wall would add about $170 to $300 per house, per home.
Above the painted or above the,
Above painted.
But that would be consistent with the other.
That would be
walls and
consistent.
That would make it consistent with the other.
So it wouldn't
golf course.
stand out. It would blend in a little better in terms of.
But
And how-
wasn't it harder for graffiti on the stucco?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tagged anything in a long time.
I think that was one of the concerns, though.
That was.
That was a concern in the planning commission, I do believe, was if they tagged it or something, going back to clean it after.
They did say that at the planning commission meeting, that it's harder to fix the color on a stucco wall than
Just a
the
regular
colored,
block.
the colored block you can like, I think, sandblast
Yeah.
the graffiti off.
Okay. And then the last thing was the tile versus comp, or no? Or is that still an issue, or was that a thought? I don't even remember. No?
That's
We get the option.
That's up to you. Yeah, depending on the home, it would add, we estimate between $1,100 and $2,000 per home,
On the size of the home.
depending on which home you're
Okay.
talking about.
Okay.
Just a little question about the parking again. There's 3 lots set aside for parking.
There's one lot set aside. No, there's 3 lots. One of them is a park, the other is for parking, and the third is a ponding basin.
The ponding basin.
So there's, I believe, 5 or maybe 6
Yeah.
parking spaces that are off street. One of them is handicap accessible.
Okay. So Which homes would have access to that parking area?
All of them. It's a public space.
First come, first serve.
First
First come, first serve.
Yeah. So,
In fact, if you wanted to go take someone to the park and play at the park, it's a public space. It's not just for this neighborhood.
no,
So you could park
I
there
realize
too.
that, but if I was coming back from Costco and I had my car filled up, but all the spaces were taken in front of the homes, I'd have to park there and unload my vehicle, right?
Pull in your driveway.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
If-
have the convenience.
If you couldn't get in your driveway, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Right,
And they have garages also.
yeah. So is there any other code enforcement with respect to parking in the driveway as opposed to parking on the street? They can park in the driveway and 2 cars, one on the garage, one on the,
You can,
still
No,
park on the
there's no-
street as
there's-
long as it's
we-
one way,
no, Lemoore doesn't have a prohibition of parking in your driveway.
right?
Now, if you park in front of somebody else's driveway, you can
Mhm.
complain, and I think PD will come out for that.
Okay. Because you're gonna have, let's just say every home has two automobiles on average, so you're gonna have more
And
automobiles
usually
than
neither of
cars.
them can fit in the
Yeah,
garage.
yeah.
The garage is full of stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, so most of these driveways are gonna have space to park on the driveway for 2 cars.
Okay. And the ponding basin, there's a ponding basin on the 18th, just off of the 18th green there at the golf course, right? They wouldn't have access to that? As opposed to putting it in that
It's-
facility?
I mean, you could maybe run a line there. I can't remember how far it is, but at some point you'd have to put in a lift station, and that would be pretty expensive. I
To
mean,
that
the
ponding
space,
basin?
the space where they're proposing the ponding basin can't really be used for anything else because of its shape. So it's a natural place to put the basin.
Is it on the east end of the development or the west
It's
end?
on the east end behind.
So it's not too far from that other ponding basin there.
It's probably not too far. You'd have to, and see, I don't know the area very well, but you'd have to, you'd have to run an easement for the pipe to get from one to the other. And then you have to figure out if you have enough drop.
How about stormwater? So
How about what?
stormwater runoff?
Well, would be for stormwater runoff. The basin that they're proposing.
Okay. I'm just wondering what the cost would be to run that stormwater to that one. Okay. I just hate to see a stormwater basin in the middle of a housing development.
Oh, okay. Well, it is going to
Yeah.
be on the other side of the cul-de-sac, so there's really only 3 houses on that part of that cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and I think, didn't we require like a nice wrought iron
It's gonna
fence
have those same wrought iron
and some
fences
landscaping
all the way around.
and some landscaping in front of it?
Any other questions, or would anybody like to make a motion?
I guess I can make a motion to accept it with additions to the one-way street. Make it a one-way street and the block wall be
Matthews,
Aye.
Mr. Gornick,
No,
Mr. Cheney.
Hi.
I vote aye as well, so the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 6-1, brief city council reports and requests. We're gonna go ahead, Mr. Orth.
I want to take this opportunity to thank Sheila for this weekend. It was an awesome event. I had the pleasure of being down there for most of the event. It was really, really nice. A lot of kids, a lot of families. It was good to see this after this year of what we've went through in this community and this country. Just
she did a great job. The planners look great. Everything's doing good. I'd like to thank the police for everything they've done. The fire, I heard the fire department was the place to be.
It usually is.
So some people got to meet Batman. So it worked out good. The bunny rabbit was out there. And so I want to thank everybody, all the city workers. You guys are working hard. And, you know, I just want to let you guys know we're doing everything we can for the city to make this go forward and have a as productive year as possible under the circumstances. Thank you.
Mr. Gornick.
Yeah, I want to thank the chief for his presentation today. I thought it was a great report on the progress that the city has made, and particularly the police department. And we live in one of the safest cities in the valley, thanks to our citizens as well as our police department. And hope we can get some good PR out of that report. The other thing we had on the consent agenda, we had a couple of items dealing with landscape lighting districts and things like that. One of our study sessions, I'd like to see kind of an overlay of the landscape lighting districts over our city council areas. So I know some of them kind of blend into others, but I'd like to kind of see those and also have a discussion about the financial condition of those as well. So,
Okay.
all right. Nothing urgent, but thank you.
Mr. Cheney.
I just want to commend Chief Kendall on a wonderful presentation, which was not beyond what I would expect. All his presentations are good. I want to commend all the city staff that worked hard on various projects, and we're very, very fortunate to have a group of people that take care of the city on a day-to-day basis. So I think we're very lucky to have these people. And that's it.
Mrs. Matthews.
I'll try to be brief. I just wanted to reiterate, thank you to Sheila Taylor for the Easter event that was downtown, the fire department that participated, the downtown businesses that participated, and many families attended, and all of them that passed by me expressed their gratitude for being able to attend an event like this. I wish I could have maybe taken some of the credit, but I gave it all as they were passing by to Sheila. This was definitely something that came from her creative brain, which was awesome and very much appreciated. Also, I was honored to be able to participate in the escort and unveiling of the Hometown Fallen Heroes Memorial trailer with the American Warriors of California, American Legion Post 100 and Post 3, as well as there was a motorcycle club of combat vets as well. I'm not sure what their title was, but they were there as well. We have Officer Jonathan Diaz, Corporal Jonathan Giles, MA3 Oscar Tamarez, and Lance Corporal Jeremy Bowe that are all our local fallen hometown heroes for here in Lemoore. There could be more. There's a lot of names on that trailer, so I may have missed some of them. But it was definitely an honor to be able to participate in that event and have that memorial here in our community. Also, from that event, I learned that the Lemoore Fleet Reserve is having an event, the Thunder Bike Night, April 15th at 6 p.m. at 788 East D Street for a COVID relief fundraiser for the Fleet Reserve. So that's open to the public. Also, Lemoore High Sober Grad Party 2020 is a Facebook page for Sober Grad for this year for our graduates. I believe is going to be free due to the circumstances that these seniors have endured. They're accepting donations from the public to help make this event free. So anyone can donate. You can either go to the Facebook page or there is, sorry, I should have had this. There is, you can send donations to the Lemoore Union High School Sober Grad at Powell Avenue here in Lemoore, or you can contact Susan at 559-381-3669 if you want to help be a part of that to help alleviate some of the things that these seniors have had to endure by having a special event for them going off to college. I want to thank staff and employees for all their hard work, continued hard work. We're blessed with great staff and great employees here in Lemoore. I also want to thank Nathan for delivering that shadow box to the Harley dealership. That was a nice gesture from the city. I also want to thank police for their presentation. It was a great presentation. I think everyone should take a look at it. It's very well done. Thank fire for all they do. And I also want to ask staff to bring forward at a future council this PUD
Revision.
revision, see
Okay.
what we can do with that. So with that, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your brief report.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. So I want to start off, Chief Kendall, thank you. You and your whole crew, you guys do very well. Mr. Olson and Mrs. Spear, I really appreciate your guys' input and your counsel as well. The Parks and Rec Department, Sheila and Ray Greenlee, the Easter event I heard was great. I saw a lot of good pictures, and unfortunately I was stuck at work. But, you know, as many people say, the fire department is the place to be on events like that.
It's only
With that
'cause of the
being
hats.
said, the golf, our fire department is putting on its first annual charity golf tournament. I've got a flyer up here and I will have it posted to the city website. On the backside, it also has all the information about it. Some of you people, Tom, I know you want to come and look at this. Take a picture of it with your phone so you have the information with you. But it's going to be going to be a benefit for the Leon S. Peters Burn Center. And with that, man, I thought you were going to say the sober grad was going to be done via Zoom.
No.
I was gonna say, oh, that's going to be a bummer sober grad.
Yeah.
Man. So that is all I have, and we are adjourned. Thank you for everyone for coming.